Hello and happy Monday. Welcome to Bella Healing Hearts. Heart matters matter. Today I'm going to talk about trust. Trust in me is what God says. And very personally, I have a story to share. Yesterday during church worship, while I was singing and praying and just being with God and thanking Him, He spoke to my heart, very real and very personable, and impressed. Two stories from the Bible that I want to share with you today. Maybe you have some dreams in your heart that you've been praying about. Maybe you've actually started to take some action step towards those dreams. And maybe you've been in a waiting period, like me. I've been in a waiting season, as I call it, where I'm doing little baby touches towards the dream, towards a vision I feel God has given me to do in my life. But I'm not really seeing a lot of action. I'm not really seeing a lot of doors open right now. It gets quiet. It gets very discouraging. So this message, while God was speaking to me about His plans for my life, I feel very importantly when He gives us something personal, it is also meant to share it with others, because there's someone else out there that needs that same message. So, dear ones, if you have been struggling and praying and crying out to God on something He's asked you to do, or a dream or a vision that's just growing within you, steadily but surely, and you have doubts and questions about it, God's got an answer, and it's this. If you don't think you have all the skills or the talents, or if you're in a place where you don't feel like the resources are there, God's got it. So, Bella Healing Hearts is something that's grown in my heart for the past few years. Worked on a website. He's given me ideas to do book talk, which starting out in the written form, a blog post, to do what I do best. I am an avid reader. I'm a learner. I love to learn, love to gather stories and information. And I learned that it has to do with my purpose, my destiny. Each of us has something that we were created to do on this earth while we're here. And a lot of us, like myself, find this out late in life. But I'm very happy to encourage you in this, that it's never too late, not in God's kingdom. He doesn't go by the age factor that most everyone around us seems to go by. No. He has a way where He calls on someone. He has a purpose. We're born with that purpose. But He has a way where He waits until such a time to let us know that here's what we're to do here on this earth. And then there's another waiting period. So He's all about restoration. It's never too late to go for your life purpose. So to know what your gift is crucial. To know who you are is crucial, and God has those answers for you. Okay, so I've been taking steps of faith. That's what we're called to do. If you know you're to do something, God has asked you to do something, take steps of faith toward it. May not make sense. You may not have all of the skills or abilities in that moment. You may not know all the people you need to know yet, and you may not have all the resources yet, such as my example. So I've been working on book projects and building a platform, as I call it, to develop relationships with other people that I will be ministering to down the road. And it takes a long time. And those of you who are the creative ones out there working on art, music, writing, it is not something like an office environment where you show up and you have an in-bin to get through for the day, or you have a list of things to do and you check off each item and accomplishment. You don't feel that accomplishment in the creative world as much because it's a process. Every single day is a slow process. What matters is that you show up and show up strong and show up with everything you've got. So I've been doing that to the best of my ability. But I have to say, honestly, the last few months I've gotten quite discouraged. The dream seems to be growing. The vision's getting larger and larger. I now have a mission statement. I could tell you why I was born. I could tell you what I'm meant to do very easily. I am meant to encourage, inspire, and motivate and educate to empower others to achieve their God-given destiny, their life destiny, and to tell you that God restores life purpose. He's got a divine design for each of us, and he carries out that plan. So I've been really discouraged in the fact that nothing seems to be happening, and it's going to take forever. My financial resources have gotten a little scary, as in disappearing fast, and I don't want to be a burden more to my husband. He's been very encouraging and helpful and supportive. So I've been trying to apply for jobs, and the door has remained shut, slammed shut. So I'm feeling more and more like a failure, and just at this place where I feel like I'm on the cusp of something different, a new season around the corner. I also feel I'm at that moment where I could give up right now. And I also know how very much it's a destiny decision. Again, here I find myself at a destiny decision place. And I don't want to make the wrong decision this time. I want to hold on. But I feel like from where I am right now to where I need to go, the gap's too huge. I know what my heart is saying. I know what the vision looks like. But when I look in the mirror, I don't see that person. And I'll probably get a little emotional right now, but maybe you can attest. Maybe you're not perfect on the outside like I am. I have issues, okay? We all do. But maybe you fight these thoughts every day. You know, what's in my heart, the things I'm trying to touch every day and the things I'm trying to learn, it's a very slow process. And it's not matching where I'm at currently. So, you get tired. So I have been tired and weary. So yesterday in church while I'm worshiping, God reminds me of Gideon. And I know many of you have heard of Gideon, and maybe some of you haven't. Well, in your Bible, Judges 7, chapter 7. You can go there and read the story, and I'm just going to read a little bit of my notes to you on it, but there's an army that Gideon, he's in charge of an army, and his enemies are in front of him, and it's scary. They are scared and afraid for their lives because they think that they're going to be destroyed. They're going to be killed. It's over before they even begin. And so here's Gideon, and he follows the Lord, and they're surrounded by the Mennonites. And excuse me if I'm saying that wrong. Tell you what, the names in the Bible, a lot of them are very hard to pronounce correctly, so have mercy. So the Lord says to Gideon, okay, now Gideon is surrounded by his army, his people, okay, in the midst of this. And God sees all of them, and he says to Gideon, the people that are with you, they're too many for me to help you with this. You have too many people for me to give you success over the army, the Mennonites. And there are too many for me to let Israel claim glory for itself against me in this. See, what it is God was saying, what you have right now, if you have victory, you're all going to think it's because of you. And you're not going to really know it was because of me. So, here, Gideon, I want you to send some of these guys home. So, ask them this question. Whoever is fearful and afraid, let them go and turn and depart and go home. And Gideon did that, and 22,000 of the people of his 10,000 army left. Let's see. That doesn't sound right to me. So 22,000 of the people returned and 10,000 remained. So there you go. All right. So 22,000 left. They were afraid. And 10,000 remained. Okay? Then you think that it's going to stop there. He goes more. Gideon, the people are still too many. Bring them down to the water and I will test them for you there. There it will be that of whom I say to you, this one shall go with you. The same shall go with you. And if whomever I say to you, this one shall not go with you, the same shall not go. So he brings all the people down to the water as God has asked. And the Lord said to Gideon, everyone who laps from the water with his tongue, as a dog laps, you shall set apart by himself. Likewise, everyone who gets down on their knees to drink, put them in a different group. So he did that. Okay. So Gideon basically is ending up with just 300 men who lapped, okay, the way, by 300 men who lapped, I will save you and deliver the Midianites into your hand. Let all the other people go, every man to his home. So Gideon listened. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm facing a challenge, I want all the help and support I can get. So think about it. When we have this giant, giant dream in our heart, and it seems way impossible for us to do it, and we've been stepping out in faith and talking the talk of faith that here's what God's going to do when it's time, in God's timing. And we're showing up little by little. But guess what? I was worried. I was asking God about the gap, the difference between what's inside me and what's around me, and how are we going to do it? Because there's a lot of things I don't know and I need to learn to be what he's asking me to be and do. Can you relate? But God was saying, Georgette, Gideon had all of these guys, and I asked him to reduce his army several times, twice, because I wanted Gideon to trust me. So do you trust God today? Do you trust God in the place you're at where it seems very scary? Maybe you're in the fight for your life. Maybe you have a health thing you're in. Maybe a loved one has a health thing that you're called to walk in this journey of faith. Or maybe you're called to do something and you're about to change seasons. Maybe you have that giant dream and you're not sure how it's ever going to happen because what's surrounding you doesn't add up to what you can be and do. Well, God's saying, none of that matters. Trust me. He got rid of people to carry out his work. He gave that army victory. He didn't need a ton of support. He didn't need a ton of resources. He needed Gideon to say, God, I will trust you. God, I trust you in this. Take over, take charge. I surrender. I believe we will have victory in your name, Lord. And God did it. God did it. God gave victory to Gideon and his army. Now, the next thing God showed me was a very different story. You would think, okay, totally random, unrelated. But when I was reading about it, and I got it right away, I got the gist of why God was reminding me of this next story. They're not unrelated. It's the same, but a little bit different. Okay. The widow with two mites. You can find that story in Mark 12, verses 41 to 44, and Luke 21, 1 through 3. The widow with two mites. So now Jesus sat opposite the treasury, okay? And he was seeing how the people would come and put money into the treasury. And he saw and observed that a lot of the rich went by, and they put in much. Oh, yes. They just totally put in a lot. And then there comes this one poor widow. She came and threw in 2 mites, okay? So basically $1 today, 50 cents, whatever it was. But the point is, she put in the 2 mites, and Jesus wanted to show his disciples this because it was huge. He called them over to them, and he said, "As surely I say to you, that this poor widow has put in more than those who have given to the treasury, put in more than all of those who had previously just given into the treasury, because they put it in out of their abundance, the gift they gave. There's no sweat off their back. They're very wealthy, and they took from that wealthy abundance they had and gave from that place. But she, out of her poverty, put in all that she had, her whole livelihood. She gave everything, the last of it." Okay? And here's what God was saying to me, because another thing that I've been working on with God in this quiet season, the waiting season, it had to do with trust. It's still trust. And here's this big giant dream. But we're also talking about our needs. And if you've ever been hurt before, if you've been betrayed, maybe you went through a divorce such as I have, or had some betrayal occur with relationships, it's very easy to step back and to put up those walls of protection and not to grow close relationships with others as much as you may have in the past. And that's where I had gotten. When you're going to step out in faith and if you're going to answer God's call on your life, he wants to make sure you're going to be okay. He wants to make sure that when you step out, you're going to stand strong You'll have mistakes. You'll fail. That's all of us. That's okay. But he doesn't want to kill you in the process, as in totally destroy you. That's not his plan. So he wants to make sure you get the lessons he's trying to get, and to make sure your heart is where it needs to be. And that our heart needs to be at that place where we trust God with everything. Our life, our breath. And here's what he was saying. Georgette, you have a tendency to hold on to things from your perceived place of lack, as in my need for love. If you've come from a place, a background where you may have felt like the odd one out, or you did not receive a lot of affirmation daily into your love bank in the ways you needed it most, so that you got it, you understood it, and if you did not get such a filling up of affirmation on a daily basis that it empowered you, you kind of walk away with the belief that you're less than, that you don't have what it takes, and then you develop this habit of holding on to things or doing the what if out of prevention, because you don't want to have loss. You don't want to lose a loved one. You want to protect a relationship. You don't want to go somewhere and open up because you're going to protect your heart. You don't want to go somewhere with a lot of people because you don't want to lose your mate. Silly thoughts. It's true, but they're meant to hold you back. They're a prison of a sort. And so God is like saying, honey, the widow with the 2 mites, when you come and when you give everything you have and you pour out your very last, I'm going to give you everything you need. And that for me, and maybe for you too, is security, safety, protection, your heart. And maybe if you feel like you're coming from a place of lack, like here's this season, right? We're in the waiting season. I've been working at home for years, trying to get a job, to get back out with people and to increase my financial opportunities, to make, to have more choice. Boy, the self-esteem did take a beating. And he did it on purpose, God did. He uses everything in our life for a purpose. And he wanted me to so get my identity in him, and that's what he wants you to do. Who are you? Why are you here? We're God's. We're God's children first and foremost. And we're meant to do stuff. We're meant to help people. Make a difference in the lives of others around us. All of us in our unique way. So, he was saying, Georgette, stop trying so hard to protect everything. You're going to show up. You're going to go in places where you're scared and nervous, such as maybe talking in front of people. Yes, Georgette, you gained some weight, but you know what? Your heart is for and foremost, the most important. Show up. I'm going to take care of this. You've been trying to lose weight for years, and there's a lot of reasons for that. It's going to be okay. Trust me in the vision I have for you and the calling on your life, and he's saying that to you, my dear ones. Trust him. Show up with those last 2 mites. Show up with your beloved, your husband or your wife, that you're so protecting that relationship. Well, show up in the need in to help other people. Show up in group settings. Show up where you can make a difference to those around you. And stop trying to hide out to be okay or have your routine the way you're so comfortable with it. Be open for change. Be open for new opportunities, new circumstances. Be open for that random knock on the door. Be ready. And give out the last of your love that you think you have. If you feel you only have one great relationship or 2 that's feeding you with love, give that up to me. Trust me. Because maybe your heart after that, God's going to just so pour out love on you through all kinds of people from all over the world. And that's where I was at yesterday. He's like, just throw it in, Georgette, as in, let me have them. So I'm asking you, what is your dream? Do you trust God with it? Where's your heart? Do you trust God with your heart? Your hopes, your ambitions, your life purpose? Just like Gideon, he wants to take away every superficial thing we rely on. And if we fall into the trap of quick fixes, instant gratification to feel better, something that help us feel love in a moment, without God, he wants to cut that out from us. to walk into that season where we're carrying out our vision and our purpose and our calling, the trust has to be there in God. So yesterday, I said, yes, Lord. And so today is your day. Say yes to God. Empty out your purse, empty out your emotional purse, and dump it into the offering and say, here you go, God. Here's every hurt. Here's every wound. Here's every person that I feel I received love from. I give them to you. And I trust you with my heart. I trust how you'll feed my heart and take care of my heart and protect. And I also trust you in the fact that if you're calling me to do something or show up in the world in a certain way, then I'm not to look in the mirror as the final judge there. I'm to step out. I'm to trust you. And whether I have the resources today or all the talents needed today, that is mute. You're going to do it in my life. I just say yes and follow. Follow every time you tell me to do or say something, I will. So trust God with that big stuff. Trust God with the impossible relationships. Trust God with those huge, great dreams. God desires to be everything in our heart, and He wants to do everything in your life to bring those great dreams to pass. Every one of us has a different calling, a different skill set, a different talent. And a lot of times He wants to take your specific skill set, but also take you in a whole new area where maybe you never even thought about using those skills. And He's going to be the one to work in you. That's how God loves to do it. And that's where He gets the glory. So Gideon was successful because God did it for him. And he didn't need thousands and thousands of men. He needed God. So God and us, we're a giant army. God bless you today. Go for it. Keep showing up. Trust God with that dream. Trust God with your heart and your hopes for the future. Trust Him. Trust Him, because He will not let you down. And the season is long at times where we may wait on Him. It's okay. I'm speaking from a place right now of complete faith. I don't know when my open door is going to occur. I don't know the next step. All I know is I'm to show up and to learn how to do videos, learn how to talk, learn how to speak in public. Doing what I do best, reading books like crazy. But for me, it's not just for me. I love learning and I want to share that information. I'm a storyteller. So whatever your thing is, show up and do it with all your heart and might. Thank you for listening. Be you today and trust God to do you in your life. Amen. Take care.